Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the H Cup presented by BTS. We're going to be taking a look at game number 2 between EHOME and VG.Reborn. Grand finals time, everybody. It's time to bring out all the stops, and EHOME are up against the wall. I'm Lyrical Dota, joined today by Danelie Cass. And Danny, we saw a little bit of craziness last time. Some really impressive play coming out from VG.Reborn. Crisp, clean timings that just ended up working out beautifully for them. This time around, though, EHOME are going to be running a Chen with VG Gaming taking that Invoker first, and it looks like they want to push.
Okay, so we had a disastrous game for eHome, and when was the last time eHome actually lost a game? Because all the ones that I've seen, they've completely wiped teams to the floor.
Yeah, no, it's true. I'm not exactly sure. They lost actually randomly to LGD the other day in the Epicenter stuff, but it looks like since then they ended up playing them earlier today and 2-0'd them. Across the board, they've just looked incredibly competent and really good in whatever game they've been placed in, but last time around they just didn't have the answers.
They didn't, and it just seemed like even though eHome is such a talented team as well, if you can't if you don't have enough of a lead and you are starting to fall behind, it's too difficult to somehow make some of these counter plays happen. And I think with their kind of draft, like they just sort of drafted themselves into a hole where they had a team like this, but they couldn't execute too many other options just because of the nature of how everything went, the kind of heroes that they were going after, and how the gameplay ended up being. So interesting enough, though, they go for the 11 Lone Druid again, which I will say 11 did a reasonable job with the Lone Druid last game. It wasn't a bad, it was a bad game for eHome, but he managed to still farm. So I'm not too worried about this pickup. They do pick the Chen up too. So not only do you have a tanky bear, but you now have creeps that are going to be able to absorb the tower damage, plus auras, and also the Chen heal as well, and an early mechanism.
Yeah. No, it's true. That is something that's going to be able to help him out a little bit. And maybe the rotation into his lane with one of the creeps could help also. And the other option is that they could just run Lone Druid in a different lane. Like, they don't necessarily have to go for old 11. That's one of the possibilities, is that you could try and run something else like, you know, the Lone Druid safe lane, or even the elusive Lone Druid mid with a little bit of help. Interestingly, they did opt to ban out the Earth Spirit this time around on VG Gaming Reborn. So we're going to have to see a different hero for Ice 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 this time. Pretty curious to see what that's going to be, and they go straight for the balance in all of its forms. OD is going to be taken in the mid lane. We've seen this story before.
If I'm not mistaken, Ice 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 will be taking the Chen, as I know he does play Chen a lot for eHome, so okay, that's technically going to be his hero. Not flashy like the Earth Spirit, but he still makes Chen plays happen, so it's still reasonable. But OD versus Invoker. Now, this is a matchup that honestly can go either way, but the difference is that OD is able to snowball off of a head start more than the Invoker can, just because OD, he just needs an ATOS, and then after that, he's really good to go when it comes to fights. There are situations where he really wants a BKB earlier, which I think for this game, I'm going to have to see what the third pickup is to see if it's going to be a reasonable OD game or if it's going to be an unbearable one. Because OD is still quite vulnerable, especially to silences.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that VGR are going to be thinking about that right now in their next pick. Also, they kind of got to be wondering, I think, about that Faceless Void. Like, there's still the opportunity. I don't think that actually, as I'm saying that, I don't like that pick for eHome, never mind. But VG can't take it themselves. I was thinking about running it, like, that combo is always there. OD with Faceless Void, but then I looked at the other heroes, like Chen, Lone Druid. No, let's not do that. That's dumb. So, yeah, the other heroes that VGR could go for, like, given the way that their draft has started, if they took like Avenge at this point, they could just go Drow next and really try and put the screws to eHome. It's still a very, very strong pick that we haven't seen all that often in Chinese Dota, but is an opportunity. And I think that also against the OD, that's the other way that you can go with it, is just trying to like right click him down, take all of his towers before he's able to come online. So several things to worry about.
You'd really have to base the draft around the Drow Ranger, though. She is a very vulnerable hero. They're going to go for the Winter Wyvern. I love this Winter Wyvern pickup now, especially when you're going up against a Chen. Any teams with a lot of summons, you can definitely grab some cheeky kills just because of the Winter's Curse, impacting all of the nearby creeps. So, and also, if I'm not mistaken... Oh, never mind, it's not the person I'm thinking about. Never mind, I didn't say anything, but Winter Wyvern in this game is a very, very good pick. It's also some great setup for the Invoker too. I'm just curious what kind of Invoker it's going to be this game. Would you
10
think it's
seconds
Quas
remaining.
Vex or a Quas Exort?
If they would have gone for
5
something along the
seconds
lines of
remaining.
like a bit more aggressive build themselves, then I would have said Quas Exort. But to me,
Reserve
this
time.
looks like they could go Quas Wex and be pretty comfortable. Now it really comes down to how they want to play the game. Like if they want to try and take towers themselves with the Enchantress, then you go Quas Exort. You pick up the level 4 in each, the Quas and Exort, and pick up those dual summons, and then you start taking towers. But if they're trying to hold back the heroes from pushing quickly, which is what the Winter Wyvern sort of signals, then it seems like Quaswex is the better option. I feel like I said the wrong thing like 3 times, but Quaswex if they want to hold out on the game, Quas Exort if they want to be
Radiant
aggressive,
being
and we'll
picked.
have to see from there what it is. But they're going to go for the Gyrocopter, so doubling down on the big team fight ultis, and EHOME, they can team fight.
They absolutely can. I was thinking if they were ever going to consider the Beastmaster, it is still available in the pool, and having the extra summons from Beastmaster would have been great for the OD and the Lone Druid, also the extra attack speed, but an offlane Lone Druid again, so this is
10
definitely going to be
seconds
the
remaining.
11 here at least. But this does guarantee some extra team
5
fight for
seconds
eHome now,
remaining.
just because they've got the cooldown to work with. They've Gyrocopter is definitely great going up against an
Reserve
Enchantress,
time.
just because he doesn't really need to rely on his right clicks
EHOME's
anymore because of
turn to
Rocket
battle.
Barrage. And for VG Gaming,
Radiant
they're going to
team
try and go
battle.
for the Winter Wyvern, essentially setting up for a massive Sven sweep.
Yeah, I will say that they've got a couple of ranged heroes, so it kind of does mean that you're not necessarily going to be able to set up like the perfect Stormhammer,
10 seconds
but
remaining.
it's still something you really need to contend with. And any time that EHOME are grouped together,
5
they're going
seconds
to need to be
remaining.
really worried. Honestly, this draft right now from VG.Reborn, it scares the bejesus out of me. Like, you've
Reserve
got a
time.
ton of single target damage with the Enchantress, you've got AoE with the Sven, you've got control with this Invoker. If they picked like a Darkseer next and ran that in the offlane, I feel like EHOME don't have very many ways to deal with it. It's like you've just got everything that you could possibly want, and they even actually could go like super greedy and go back for an Enigma last pick for VGR. I think that their lanes might be strong
10
enough,
seconds
and
remaining.
I'm saying that the Winter Wyvern might be a little bit of a weakness in the lane, so they probably want to pick
5 seconds remaining.
another offlaner that will do fine, and then Enchantress can roam into the safe lane.
I really liked your Darkseer suggestion
EHOME's
because
turn
Darkseer
to
also
pick.
synergizes with the Sven, so you're going to be able to not only surge him into the fights to give him extra mobility, but you also have the Ion Shell. So
Yeah.
I really like that Darkseer. And eHome, they're going for a Nyx
Radiant
Assassin,
team picked.
which is rather interesting. The last time, every time I see Nyx Assassin, it's up against an OD.
Yeah.
But this time, is this supposed to be a more or less a ganking hero for eHome so that they can have the Nyx Assassin set up and try and get some kills early on?
Yeah, I'm
Or is
assuming
it to
so.
dismantle the Invoker?
I think that the play here is you're going to have the Nyx Assassin. And I'm wondering almost if this ends up being sort of the same thing that
10
VGR ran last
seconds
time with the
remaining.
Beastmaster in the jungle. Like, you could conceivably pick up a
5
Nyx
seconds
Assassin with
remaining.
an Iron Talon and, like, run that in the jungle, which would be weird. They do go back for that Darkseer now, so that classic combo of the Winter Wyvern Darkseer is going to be really strong. But yeah, if Fenrir does want to play this a little bit more greedy, he could go that route and then, like, already there's 4 int heroes on this, so you've got mana burn, which is going to be absolutely ridiculous. So I kind of think that eHome's draft is a little bit more difficult to execute, and VGR is just like a very clear way to win this game. And honestly, I think that I'm gonna have to favor him going into this one. I'm very surprised by that, but I'm just not sure I completely believe in eHome's draft.
I'm going to hold my favoritism back. I want to see how the lanes execute first and to see if there's going to be any lane shenanigans. Because
Yeah.
eHome every now and again they do change the lanes up so that it will throw their
10
opponents off
seconds
guard. So
remaining.
eHome, will they consider it? What are your thoughts
5
on
seconds
eHome
remaining.
maybe trying to go for old 11 in the safe lane and putting Lanham with the Chen as well as the Nyx
Oh god, I'm
in an
tempted.
aggressive try? Oh dear.
Yeah, I think that could work. Let's see, who would that safe lane be? It'd be Sven, Winter Wyvern, and Enchantress. Yeah, that could be pretty strong. Lenem would be pretty great at being able to burst on down, like because the main defensive ability would be the Cold Embrace, but it looks like they're going to opt to play it a little bit more standard. As Lenem's going to head off to the safe lane, actually picking up boots first, interestingly enough. So I'll do a quick little introduction of EHOME and let you take over for VGR, but Lenem is going to be playing on the Gyrocopter. It's also going to be Fenrir playing on the Nyx Assassin. He does go for boots first, so he's going to be playing a little bit more of the traditional support role. Old Chicken on that OD, Ice on the Chen, and last but not least down here in the bottom lane, Old 11 playing that Lone Druid again.
So we've got DDC leading the way on the Winter Wyvern in their own jungle, followed by FY on the Enchantress this game. We have End on the Sven, No on the Invoker, and finally in the off lane, who's all by himself, we have Yang on that Darkseer.
Cool stuff, and they don't end up committing anything heavy for that Lone Druid. Instead, they're just going to back on out. We have seen Lone Druid as a bit of an interesting counter to the Spirit Bearer in laning stage. Like Winter, or Arctic Burn rather, it's percentage-based damage, which works incredibly efficiently against that bear who's already naturally very tanky. It brings him down to about a little bit less than half HP, and then you rotate in the Enchantress, potentially you're going to be able to maybe find a kill off the back of it. So it's something that is going to make Old 11's game that much more difficult, even more so than it was last time potentially, although granted he's not going to be against the Weaver again, so that's one nice part about it.
One nice part. Let's hope that that one nice part is also a little bit more good for Old 11, because last game it was an absolute nightmare for him to even just sit in that bottom lane. Yeah, I suppose the Arctic Burn is going to be a threat to the bear. The only thing with the Arctic Burn is that the cooldown on that is ridiculously long, and they just might be able to kill the bear right off the bat. Like, it's just too slowed up.
Yeah, they are going to be able to, and going to be able to pick that up. Pretty nice start for the game right there, as Enchantress gets a nice 300 gold in her pocket. And yeah, Arctic Burn.
That's huge.
It's a pretty good spell.
That is huge. That was almost as good as First Blood, really. 300 golds? Like, come on. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Stun coming out onto Yang now, and Lenem actually taking a little bit of damage up here in the top side against that Ion Shell. Slightly more than you would think. Mid lane, the Invoker versus OD matchup, kind of a classic, and already OD off to a very nice start for himself, 4-2 versus the 3-0. As far as laning stage goes, like, Old 11 really can't afford to lose that bear again, and honestly, like, they're gonna have Arctic Burn back up in a second or two. DDC is gonna have a good time here in this lane.
Oh, he definitely will. For Old 11, once the pressure in the lane gets harder, though, do you expect him to...
Oh, the Impale from afar? They're trying to kill off Lenem? They get the kill! And Fenrir is going to be able to walk away from that one.
Oh god, they all get out with such low HP pools as well. They'll be super happy, but in the meantime, though, OD's taking a lot of damage from the Enchantress while doing Ripper, and unfortunately has to pop his salve quite soon just to regen back up to full. So Enchantress can be helping out the Invoker in lane a little bit more, whereas up top it looks like there was some damage thrown out onto Old 11 as DDC just coming in with the Arctic Burn, although it has expired now.
Yeah. They're keeping it cool, calm, and collected down here. Last hits-wise, you're taking a look at it. Lone Druid's still getting something out of this lane, which is a lot more than last time where he got completely destroyed. So he's denying out a couple of creeps here and there, and generally doing a pretty good job. I like also, again, we were talking about the Invoker going for that Quas Wex build. It makes a ton of sense given this lineup and being able to take away that mana. It's going to be very, very paramount for him throughout this laning stage to make sure he doesn't end up getting ganked or killed. So I'm liking what I'm seeing again from VGR. I feel like they're off to a pretty great start, despite the fact that, you know, they've got this hero in the OD that's so hard to deal with.
So Ice is still farming away on the Chen. He's just going to start using the Wild Ring to slowly start ripping things to shred. He's got a smoke in his pocket. Now, who would you be looking to gank if you were Ice? Would you want to be getting that Darkseer a little bit just to ease the pressure in the safe lane, or would you be looking towards the Invoker instead?
The only problem is that, again, you're going up against the Invoker with the Quas Wex build, so you'd have to have some like really good creeps to make sure you're even able to find that kill and commit dust. I think that it's a pretty important Enchantress. Oh yeah, she's coming to mess around with them.
Some jungle wars. Deny from Ice too.
Nice.
Lane is not going to be getting any time easier, it seems.
Yeah. I kind of like that idea, and they're actually going to end up bringing in the Satyr Tormentor to mess around with Odie. He's taking a lot of damage already. Just got to be so careful here. And Jen takes over the creep again. The battles continue.
Oh, jeez. Oh well. Looks like Old Chicken's been zoned out a lane, and FY is going to go onto the high ground. Enchant is off cooldown, so he can steal this creep if it gets in range of it. Instead, is going to take the Wildwing Ripper. It's been a long time since we've seen Jungle Wars. Down bottom, though, Old 11, taking a whole bunch of damage from the Wyvern and Sven.
They're kind of dealing it back, though. Also, you got DDC here, who's completely out of mana at this stage, and is going to end up getting right-click. Old 11 is actually doing a whole heck of a lot to them. They got to be careful here. It's worth noting, by the way, that the Darkseer, in terms of the laning stage, has really come away with this one. Not quite as good or as well off as Old 11 has, but now they're going to rotate for this, trying to see if they can find a kill. I don't think that they're going to be able to find anything, as FY does not have any really substantial creeps for finding kills. But yeah, I think the Old 11's, he's come out a lot better this game than he did in the previous one.
I think it's just because it wasn't a consistent... It just wasn't a hero like the Weaver that has a way of getting right under the Lone Druid. Sven sort of has to like run into melee range, which is much difficult, especially with the Savage Roar and the Bear. Old 11's going to be able to see that coming from miles away.
Yeah.
So at least he's able to do well, or much better this time. But we've got FY though. He's trying to go and hide into the tree line to try and go for a backstab onto Old 11. I don't know if these two can kill him. Instead he's going to TP home, it seems, as a... doesn't really have the best mana pool to work with. So one-on-one matchup down bottom. If Old 11 knew this, he would be completely content with this. So DDC, Scott Ward's going to be on a warding mission now.
Yeah, definitely. They're doing a good job of it. I really feel like VG are responding to the rotations well. And even though you've been able to get the first kill there for EHOME, you can see that it's a very, very close game with EHOME a little bit ahead of in terms of experience. I think the biggest thing is going to be what this Chen is able to do. Ice needs to make a rotation and find something with his early levels and gold he's been able to get, and probably going to go for those arcane runes first, and then afterwards build into the mechanism, just sort of that classic build to help take down the towers. But meanwhile, the smoke ink is going to start coming. They are going to pop Warcry for the moment. Chase now continues after Old 11. They do manage to pop off the Savage Roar already, but I think that they might be able to kill the Druid himself. They're going to go for the body blocks. Right clicks are there. There's going to be the Hellbear Smasher Clap. Does not quite connect, and because of that, I think Old 11 escapes. He's managed to get past him, and now the Bear is just going to right click FY a little bit. Really well played there to make sure, well, Bear?
They could lose it.
Ugh.
Oh. You didn't get the hero, but hey, 300 gold. It's still worth it, right? FY, he's literally just sitting in money. That's the second bear he's gotten this game, I believe. So it's 600 gold from the Lone Druid just into FY's pockets.
God, but look at mid lane right now. EHOME, they have started the push. There are two Centaurs as well as the Dark Troll Summoner. But this is what Winter Wyvern does. Just like, look at the damage that he's able to deal out here right at the start. They're going to be able to probably take this tower off the back of it, though. You've already got Call Down that's up for Gyrocopter. It's been committed, and they're going to sort of go for a little reinitiation with those skeletons, I think. Well, there's heroes rotating in to defend this. Need to be careful. They've got that combo, and this is what No needs to do, is just sit here ready to go with the Cold Snap onto Old Chicken, who might have overextended slightly. That might have been their moment. They're waiting.
Does he back up now? Yeah, it looks like he's going to completely back up. Darkseer dies in the meantime. We totally caught that. So we saw the body sink into the ground at least. Or I hope you did anyway. But
yeah, definitely.
It's gold. So it's a kill for Lanham. And interestingly enough, Lanham's gone for the bottle build, which very rarely do you see this, but I do see this more often with heroes that are going up against the Darkseer. So I think for Lanham, this is very reasonable. And considering the flow of the game that EHOME is looking for, it will supplement the push for the Gyro, meaning that he can sort of use his spells a little bit more loosely because he has that regen.
Down bottom, End is taking a good amount of damage. He needs to be careful about the root that could be coming, and if he manages to hit one here now, he's going to not be able to catch it. And DDC comes on in. Never was going to be a problem, so pretty well done. Again, you look at the sort of way that this game has worked out, and EHOME are definitely taking a lead. They're going to end up rotating in again. Gyrocopter is there with the call down. Ice is also here. They've already been able to pick up the... Was he going to end up being able to catch him? Oh, yeah. God. Yeah, that's a kill.
That was a no-no. They really wanted to kill 11. And I wouldn't blame them either, because they've been rotating out the Enchantress to try and do other things in the lane that Sven as well as Wyvern can't deal with him anymore. They can't kill him just because of Savage Roar. Oh
FY
no.
is going to end up dying, I think. Dropping pretty low. They need another kill. Test of Faith is going to end up being able to be there. Gyrocopter gets it with the Rocket Barrage, and they're going to take this tower now. EHOME are pissed. They're upset about that last game, and they're going to start taking it quickly. But you've also got VG.R down here in the bottom lane. You know, the Warcry up to level 2, and End is starting to be able to scale pretty well. He's already got that Bassi also, so getting the extra armor onto all of his heroes. That being said, the Lone Druid does manage to pull back the creep wave.
Oh, this is a invisible OD as well. Is there any detection down here? There's none. None at all for VG.R, so they don't know that he's here. So if they try and jump onto Ice, there will be an Astral, but they're going to start hitting onto End, and I think End may have just sort of given away his life. Like, he knew he was going to die, so he was just going to stand there saying, yep, that's fine, I'll accept my fate for now.
That was pretty well played there. They needed that one, and now again you're just going to have EHOME pressing down this bottom lane. They've got Chen creeps this time as we miss another wonderful kill. Darkseer ends up killing off Lanham, so pretty well played there to find that one. It's going to come at the cost probably of their tier 1 tower in the bottom lane, which is pretty nicely done, and this should be a pretty easy kill here. Again, the top lane, it's a little bit nuts to me that they're able to find that one, but with the help of the Invoker, they were able to get it.
They kill the Gyrocopter, which is fine, but EHOME are able to capitalize more in this space than VG.R have been so far. Like, EHOME have taken 2 T1s, they're going to be aiming for that top T1 soon so they can have that influx of gold. And VG, they're looking for kills, which is all fine and dandy, but not all of their kills have been translating to objectives, which they might have to change the mindset a little bit. If they want to keep farming, that's okay. If you're still looking for those kills, make sure you try and grab those objectives as well, because without grabbing these towers, it's gold not going into the pockets of VGR's heroes early. And those towers can dictate when an item comes online or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and another play up in the top lane is, looks like Invoker is going to try and find somebody. And with Yang here as well, they've got the Ion Shell immediately up on top of him, level 4, ready to go. Mid lane is a little bit of pressure here off to the side as FY is going to try and steal one of these creeps, but this is where the real action is going to be. EMP Tornado not actually going to connect on Lenham, and he does manage to get all of his mana burn, so that's going to be a quick and easy kill.
What?
What?
He popped his wand! Wow, that value wand.
Oh.
Lenham. And he has a bottle too. Oh, jeez.
Well, call down now. The turnaround could be real. They're actually going to rotate in now with this, and they're going to be able to find No-No's going to go down, I think. Can they find this one, actually? They don't manage to drop it, and he does end up throwing down the ulti, but Invoker's still alive here. They are going to throw out the Tornado to try and keep him out of there for the moment. The long-range Hadouken ends up connecting, and Chen gets the kill. That was max range Hadouken.
So Lanham had 4 wand charges, and that 60 HP regen saved his life. That was a value wand. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, that you buy wands in Dota 2. You can potentially save your life. But geez, that was such a good turn of events for EHOME. And now that they're all up here with all these Chen creeps at 2 Centaur Conquerors, 1 Satyr, as well as a Dark Troll Summoner, are they thinking about trying to go for a push? Wyvern is here, but she's almost 6 though. Someone's got to keep an eye on DDC, because when you know the curse is up, you need to be very careful.
Yeah, totally. And it's worth noting also, though, that she's got the Soul Ring up now on the Winter Wyvern. You're going to be able to spam on out those Splinter Blasts. Level 3 right now, so 270 damage nuke on a 7-second cooldown. It's really hard to contend with this, and because of that, we're going to end up seeing down here bottom, they were looking for Old 11. Not quite going to be able to find him as of yet, but they could go for that bear catch. They are going to end up going through the Ghost Walk and might be able to find him. Now, counter initiation, they actually drop out the Savage Roar and end up being able to catch him there with the Impale. No dropping low. The Root is going to be there as well. Can they find this one? They might be able to just turn around and kill off the Invoker. They rotate in with Lenham, and they don't have the heal, so no reveal means that Invoker just walks away. That was close, though.
If Lanham had cooldown, I'm pretty sure he would have thrown the blind cooldown to see if he could have caught No there. That was almost a clutch kill coming in from EHOME. The Lone Druid was so lucky because with the way that Nyx came in from the side, he actually spotted out the Invoker before the Lone Druid did. So just the placement of the Nyx there, like him just conveniently being there at the right time, technically bought them enough time to counterplay that Invoker. And now End, is he being chased? And lineup, yeah, they know he's there. They don't get the slow though, so End is going to be completely fine with no chase.
Nicely done. Yeah, he's just able to get away from the Warcry after taking out the Ancients, realizes that everything's going to be all hunky-dory, and backs on out. So jungle wars are sort of going on still, but it's, VG.R trying to take the jungle of the Dire. Meanwhile, you've got Chen, who's consistently, as well as old 11, taking out the jungle of the Radiant. And this is sort of just going to harken back to the way that the game is going to go. I feel like EHOME are going to want to try and take themselves a Roshan pretty shortly. Like, you're going to be able to tank it with the Bear, you come on in with the OD, throw down a couple of those Arcane Orbs, and find yourself in a good position. Also worth noting that, the Bear is going to end up getting pretty big fairly shortly. Already there with the Hand of Midas, and is about halfway to the Relic, roughly, maybe a little bit more than that. And yeah, they're gonna head over that direction now.
If you look at the status of both teams, we've got a small mech advantage here for EHOME, but it won't be too long because the Darkseer is going to be securing his very shortly. And if you're EHOME, you would want to make the most of this mech advantage before the Darkseer gets his. Now it looks like No just wanting to get rid of Ice's mana, or at least a third of it, not really being able to get that much out of it, but the EHOME, they sort of slowed down. They're not really actively looking for kills anymore. They're just trying to finish up those items. Are there any major items that they're buying time for? It doesn't really seem like there's anything in their inventories to indicate any of that.
Yeah, I think that probably... Well, it's tough to tell exactly what it is that they want to wait for. First of all, like, getting maybe the Radiance up on Bear... It's a big item, but it also feels like it's really far away. So I'm wondering if they're trying to buy time for that. It's worth noting that now with the Smoke Ink coming in, if you're VG.R and you're able to find somebody, you just got to go for this. So they're going to end up trying to catch Fenrir down here in the bottom lane. He's got Vendetta, so should be able to escape from here. And it doesn't look like they're going to find anybody as he TPs to the mid lane. So that's the biggest thing to me. But outside of that, it feels like it might be worth it to try and hit a timing before Sven gets like a Blink Dagger or BKB. At least for the moment, they're just kind of like trying to farm up their next set of items. And as we said, the mech up on Ice feels like they can push a tower. But you've also got a lot of D-push on VGR. And as you mentioned, the Winter's Curse, it's really relevant. It's hard to push into that.
Oh, look at the positioning of VGR. They're all hiding behind that small collection of trees and hoping that 11 just crosses that line so that they can try and go for the kill. Meanwhile, that's happening though. EHOME's just pushing the top T1, and because no one's showing themselves, EHOME have got to know that there's a gank incoming, and they see No in the bottom lane. 11 knows what's happening, so tower gets taken at least, or it should be taken soon.
Top lane, DDC was looking for something, didn't end up finding it, but now they're chasing after End, and they are going to commit the cooldown. That's actually into 3 though, so they back up, and Tornado is going to be thrown out for that one. It's a pretty easy runaway though, and Old 11 resummons the Bear. They've been able to find the kill down there in the bottom lane finally, after the fight that was going on in the mid lane, and this is a pretty nice little moment right here for EHOME, where again, they've got so much damage on their team that at any given point in time, they don't have to commit everybody to find a kill.
Absolutely. Like, EHOME are playing this game much better than last time. It's not to say that VGR aren't playing well. They're all trying to initiate on the Bear. I guess it's just an EMP. They can't really do anything to Old 11 under a tower, so it's going to be reduced to no mana at least. But it doesn't slow down the Radiance farm. He is getting really, really close to the Relic at least. He should be able to finish that in about 2 to 3 minutes. Assuming he doesn't get killed off anytime soon, which may likely happen if everyone on the side of VGR decides to stick around. But in the meantime, though, everyone on EHOME everyone else on EHOME, they're happily content just sitting back, farming away, getting their levels and such. They grabbed a T1 at least, which was all great. They managed to grab another objective, but they're still farming for items, and I don't quite see what they're waiting for, unless maybe they're trying to finish up the ATOS on Old Chicken.
I mean, it's worth noting that they could feel comfortable going into the late game against this lineup. Like, you look at VGR's heroes, you've got Darkseer, Witcher, Wyvern, which is always going to be relevant, and then you've got, the Invoker Sven. Sven runs out of BKB charges, all of a sudden you're in a position where you're going to be able to fight him. And then on EHOME, they've got OD, they've got Gyrocopter, they got Lone Druid. I think they're comfortable going into the late game here. There's not really any rush to try and end this game super quickly, which is something that I was wondering about with VGR's draft, is where they're going to be able to punish this sort of semi-tri-core that they've got running here, and it doesn't really feel like they've been able to. As you mentioned, they've only taken down 2 Tier 1 towers, and it is worth knowing that Fenrir is going to walk up to the high ground, spots out a couple heroes, and then backs on out. So I think that they're comfortable just waiting for Radiance on Bear and then going to push out waves at that point.
I'm not too sure how much the Radiance is going to impact the game, though. Like, there's a mechanism on VG.R, they've got the Cold Embrace. There's not really that much EHOME can do during the Cold Embrace, so... It looks like VGR, though, they're going to make one push happen at least. If the T1 down bottom, it's pretty low, and they managed to catch the EMP Tornado onto Fenrir. He will lose a lot of mana, but no one hoping to commit. Everyone's just going to slowly chip away at the tower. And all of a sudden, you got Ice Ice Ice's Tornado coming in. Hurricane, Ice Ice Ice. But that's not going to push them back. They want this tower.
Well, Bear's keeping him back for the moment. Lanham hasn't committed the call down yet and did throw out one of those missiles. It's going to end up being able to get killed off, so pretty nicely done. Bear gets the deny on the tower, and they're good to go for the moment. Like, VGR are going to continue this push, though, and they need to be so careful about that Winter's Curse that can come out. It looks like they are going to back now, though. Getting a little bit too afraid of trying to run into that one. And it's worth noting that, like, Sven, with no BKB, it's a lot harder for him to actually get into any of these fights and position himself where he wants. So there's still reasons for VGR to not feel comfortable pressing too further forward. And I'm kind of curious if at some point in time they're just going to need to force EHOME's hand.
This smoke movement from EHOME, they literally smoked to the other side of the map. They're going to pressure the T2, and they're probably going to use it in hopes to send VGR back. Is the lone druid here? They've only got the Chen and the gyrocopter. The push isn't that quick.
They sent their courier into EHOME's base. I don't know what happened. Somebody misclicked. That was a problem.
Alright.
But they're going to take the Tier 2 tower, as you said. The Bear can keep them pressured back for the moment, and they do manage to take down that Tier 2 tower in the bottom lane. But EHOME are going to feel comfortable trading this one off, and Chen takes this one pretty good across the board, and this might open up the way for VGR to move on into Roche.
So I guess what EHOME was hoping to do with that was to either get Pyrrhus for VGR to TP back, or they were just trying to avoid the team fight. Because let's face it, VGR's team fight it looks terrifying. So for EHOME to make a play like that, to grab a T2 for free and to not take any T3 damage, I'm pretty sure EHOME, they're very happy with that. Like, their T2's down, it's okay, their heroes are getting farmed, they're still getting bigger and bigger, and it's going to be a Blink Dagger on the OD rather than the Rod of Atos. So he's prioritizing mobility over the Atos for that extra intelligence as well as HP pull.
Well, this is the thing that I'm wondering about with OD here. Is he going to end up going for that? Occasionally you end up seeing Fenrir actually getting caught out by the tornado. Occasionally you end up seeing ODs go back for the BKB before going sheep. And I'm kind of curious if he's going to go for that or try and go for one of the bigger tier items first. I kind of feel like BKB would be pretty good this fight to be able to deal with what VGR throwing him. Obviously, if he gets Winter's Curse himself, then he's going to end up getting exploded, as we actually do see Old Lanham taking the stack of Ancients. This is pretty huge if they're going to be able to finish this one off, but it looks like they're going to come on in and contest this for the moment. They popped the mechanism and haven't used anything yet to be able to finish it. And yeah, it is going to be End going to complete this one, but they're going to wrap around now looking for their initiation angle. They are going to toss on out the mana burn the first time through. Old Chicken right clicking off to the side there. They thrown out the tornado as well as the EMP, but Nono's going to drop really low, and suddenly VGR is getting destroyed. All of their heroes are dropping low. Old Chicken not going to be able to find it quickly enough, though, and Lenham trying to kill off End. He was right-clicking him all the way to death, and there's the blink away. Really nicely played. They are going to be able to maybe burst down the Sven. Can they find it? He does not have another homing missile, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to chase. Lenham? Gyrocopter? Tier 3?
Lenham? What?
All right.
Oh, man. This guy has balls of steel. Not many people would make plays like that. But at the end of the day, though, after that fight, End has just finished up a BKB. And now with that available, there's nothing on the side of EHOME outside of getting a lucky entangle that's going to be able to disable him. So for EHOME to deal with the Sven now, they're going to have to try and get some kiting action happening. Otherwise, End is going to walk all over EHOME.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those moments where it's like, you need to be able to make sure that you don't end up being able to get caught out like that. And I think it was a really good play by EHOME to put themselves in that position. Let's take a look. Other big items that you feel like are coming up now at this stage. They're going to be going to try and take out Roshan, and Odie decides not to go for it. What do you feel is like the big ticket item that's going to be there? Enchantress already has Dragon Lance.
She's picked up a Sage's Mask. Is this supposed to be the makings of an Orchid for FY, or is it supposed to be something else? I don't really see anything else.
Yeah, I've seen the Enchantresses go for it a couple of times, and it feels pretty good. They actually are going to spot out this Wildwing Ripper here, and they realize that Roshan's going to start to get taken. I don't know if EHOME can come and contest this. They have Call Down available if they want to drop it in there. They would really love to be able to deny this Roshan.
But there's that huge threat of the curse, though.
Yeah. They're going to try and go for the ward battles. They drop it down.
Yeah.
They do have the ability. Fenrir gets caught out there. Tornado combination is going to be there as well. But Ice stuck up on the high ground. He's in a lot of trouble. They get the self-astral for the moment to try and keep him alive, and now they're bringing Odie on the other side, trying to kill off DDC. They're going to be able to chase now after Fenrir. It's already a Sentry Ward dropped in. Up on the high ground again. Ice is still there, getting killed by his own illusion. Yang is getting chased on down as well. Can they find the kill? There's the counter initiation, and it's going to hit away there. Odie goes for the self-astral, might be able to blink out, but I don't know if it's going to end up happening. He blinks to the high ground, a couple of right clicks down, DDC does fall, and now they're getting kited around. End is going to be controlled for the moment, and the Sprout, are they going to be able to get the root down? They end up going for the Savage Roar! They get him off, and that's going to end up being the Aegis dropped. Really well played. Can they kill him a second time, though? He does go for the Roar Cry. First hit root, and I think that this is maybe going to be a kill. He has Stormhammer back up in no time, and yeah, he's going to not be able to find him.
Oh, they might be able to grab a bear kill at least on the Enchantress, so Bear's going to die to the last hit from the Impetus. And it looks like after that, there's nothing else that's going to be lost for EHOME. That is a huge victory. You've essentially used the Aegis from the Spence. There's no longer going to be that backup insurance for End. You took a team fight in the Roche Pit, and considering how everything went, you would actually think VG.R should have been able to come out on top, but EHOME making the plays, they took a much more favorable trade in the end, and got to be very, very content with how everything went.
It's pretty nuts. Like, this is the thing right here, is that you're looking at the way this game is going, and EHOME, they're holding on to it. Like, clearly VG.R is starting to make comebacks, and they're able to sort of stand toe-to-toe with them. You look at the way that the difference in net worth has exchanged over the last couple of team fights, and I think that this is just more effective use of the map. But that being said, you also have Fenrir now getting an initiation off onto Yang. Or rather, Invoker is going to be here to the side. They toss out the Tornado. It connects onto two, and they are going to be able to kill off that Darkseer. Self-Astral for the moment, and I think that Odie might be able to blink out of here. No, he doesn't end up getting it. They get the Stormhammer off, and he is going to drop. Just like that, though, Nyx is going to be able to get away.
So what actually happened coming into that fight was Odie was rotating into the fight, and Nono was chasing him under the cover of Ghostwalk with a double damage rune, and he actually wanted to try and initiate onto the Odie before he blinked, but Odie blinked forward to try and go for that kill. So honestly, the OD could have died before that fight even happened.
Yeah.
So considering how it went, like to grab that kill, and yeah, he died himself. They may have not got that kill onto the Darkseer to begin with. So. Yeah, you lose the OD, but at least you got that kill.
Definitely. I will say that it's also making room now for the Spirit Baron. Lone Druid is currently sitting second highest in net worth. Again, these heroes from EHOME do scale incredibly well into the late game. Chen is about to be able to pick up an Aghanim Scepter and 1,500 gold roughly. This is going to allow him to pick up those big old creeps. All of a sudden, this counter push material that you've got here from the Invoker isn't really going to quite be as strong as it was previously. So I'm feeling like as this game goes on, it's going to become harder and harder for VG.R to really take it. EHOME, I think, are going to be in a better position as this game continues.
There's going to be a huge power spike for VG.R now, though. They've just picked up a Blink Dagger on not just Yang, but they've also picked one up onto End. So now the Sven has a mode of initiation outside of just running into the fight. And you look at EHOME, they're all just delta splitting. They didn't want to go anywhere near... Oh, that Astral! That beautiful timing. They're going to pull Landon back, though. They want to commit onto the Gyro. EHOME, they're going to try and save their buddy. Can they actually get Lanham out, though? There's no force stuff, there's no BKB. Looks like he will be dropping soon. They Astral him again, buying time. And all of a sudden, it's going to be old chicken on the high ground being taken out by End. He's going gonna try and outrun him through the tree line. They need to save this old chicken. He blinks out and is completely disconnected from his team and gonna be kept in place by Ice 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 as BKB has been used. Can EHOME kill the Sven? He's got backup coming in, looks like he's fine now, and the invisibility rune.
That is so value right there. It's so freaking worth it. BKB used on the Sven, God Strength used on him as well. They're able to get him out. The OD making great decisions heading along that top lane there and make sure that he was able to get the Self-Astral a second time through in that team fight, and then he was able to get away from the Sven, just that Blink Dagger. It was really, really well played. And now again, you're starting to see this point where Linham comes on in, takes on down these Ancients. He's already got Sanj and Yasha, Helm of the Dominator, and drums. Once he gets a BKB, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. He's going to have a good chunk of damage on top of just that ultimate that's already there. Worth noting now that you do have over in the side FY and DDC trying to kill off these creeps, but if they step a little bit too far forward, they might get caught out. But a lot of VG.R here as well.
Oh, they might want to bring the bear back because it's taking 3 damage from FY. Oh, geez, down to half already. Oh, they could potentially kill this. They get a blink stun though onto Yang, and it looks like for now EHOME are going to get out safely, minus the bear, and they're going to take the Ancients as well.
The slow Radiance burn is going to be there. They do get the first hit root onto end, so a little bit of luck going their way. This has gotten them enough time to have the rest of the heroes rotate in, and Sven just ends up blinking on out of there after the rotation. Worth noting, while that was all going on, Old Chicken was able to catch onto the, or was able to push out that top lane pretty effectively. So you're always getting something in exchange for it. Pretty nicely played there.
Look at this chase from EHOME. They're going to commit to the bottom T2. This is going to be taken down quite easily. Tornado thrown out, just going to slow down EHOME. Do they actually consider going up high ground? No, definitely too dangerous. I was rather curious as to why they were going so close to VGR's base, but it looked like it was just going to be the T2 for now. And because of how that fight went, like the biggest loser in the end is End. Oh god, that was a terrible. I didn't even attempt that one, that just happened. But yeah, he got the worst end of the stick because he popped his BKB, and to get nothing out of it, that's the biggest thing that would hurt a Sven. Because as the BKB charges go lower and lower, that just opens up more opportunities for EHOME to try and go for those plays. So it's not getting easier for End. If he can't capitalize on the BKB while the duration's still at a reasonable duration, then it's going to become increasingly difficult for VGR to push into EHOME.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I completely agree. And you're also seeing these BKBs that are coming up on the EHOME squad now. So this is now a point in time where End is less effectively able to just right-click away, which is what he needs to do. And he's continued to get kited around in each and every single one of these team fights. They're going to be able to throw out the Impale Stun. Old Chicken gets the Astral off to the side, and they haven't ended up going for any counter initiation now. EMP's already been dropped. The Tornado didn't hit onto anybody. They might be looking for something here. They can blink after this. The missile is going to continue the chase. It doesn't quite end up falling. They get the Astral now onto the Darkseer. Over there on the side, though, they're able to jump on to land him. They don't have anything to keep him alive, and he does end up getting killed off. They know now Old 11 is in the midst of this, taking damage from Fenrir. It's not going to be enough, though, and Impetus shots are going to be going through. Over to the side, though, OD has come around, and he's going to end up bringing them all down low. Gets another Astral off, and is going to chase now after Nonan, and I think that that's going to be a secondary kill. 2 are already dead right now for VGR. The chase is going to continue for End. They are going to be able to run him down. There's going to be another Astral, and just like this, I think that this is going to be 3 dead, 2 cores on top of it. Oh, can they get a root, though? It doesn't look like they're going to necessarily need to. They seem to make sure that they keep this Radiance burn on him. No BKB away. He is going to end up going down. OD finds the kill. 3 dead, and just like that, EHOME are really starting to become scary.
I think VGR, they've fallen into the domino effect. They lose one team fight, and then all of a sudden, everything is starting to go wrong. Everything. Even that mid engagement, it looked reasonable. They killed off the gyrocopter right off the bat, which was great. He got rid of 1 damage source already. Then he just simply buys back, comes back into the middle of the fight, and then all of a sudden, VGR are not in a position to contest EHOME. They're all sort of disconnected from each other. They're not in a position to engage. And even though they got all the major spells off, such as Wall and Winter's Curse, it just wasn't enough, and Yang goes for a vacuum. But with no follow-up, they can't really do anything about this. The bear is just doing free damage to the tower. FY gets caught with the Impale as well. Cooldown is there, and it looks like it may be a little bit of a tussle here as Nono gonna stick into the middle of the fight, but FY gonna lose his life to the BKB Old Chicken. And EHOME, they're just taking these Raxas for free. VGR can't get anything out of this.
God, it's really rough right now. They get another Astral off. If they want to, they're going to be able to catch on to No-No. The right clicks, they poof him on back. They do bring two forward.
Yang! Yang!
They might kill Fenrir from that, but it certainly ended up sealing Invoker's death.
Oh,
so
no.
Pretty nice play there to find that one. End was chasing off there onto the gyrocopter and did manage to find the kill. So a 2-for-2 trade, but they lose Elena Barracks. That's pretty rough.
Even though it's a gold advantage to VGR, it's still Raxes, right? There's how many heroes on VGR that can deal with the creeps reasonably? I guess VGR are okay. They've lost one set of Raxes, which is bad and all, but they've got heroes that are able to at least push out the creep wave. They're not running support such as Oracle and Rubik that can't clear creep waves. So I suppose there's some good news for VGR, but even though you can push creep waves, that doesn't win you the game.
No,
They still have to keep on going against EHOME. And the way that EHOME's playing it, they're playing it so safely. EHOME, the moment there's an opening, that when there's a major spell down, if they catch someone out, if someone's being chased down and VG are just sort of like sitting on their tail, EHOME just miraculously finds openings. I don't know how they do it. It's like they've developed a sixth sense. Considering how the first game went, it was like they muted the sixth sense for the first game, and then they just sort of like unlocked it for game two. But like, okay, screw this, we want to win. Let's go for it. Secret strat, go.
I think also their draft was like way better this time around. Like, I actually believe that VGR's draft might be a little bit better than EHOME's, just to deal with what EHOME was trying to do. Maybe you could have argued that if you replaced like a Winter Wyvern here with another hero that pushes a little bit more effectively, it would have gone better. But I don't think their draft was bad by any means. And I think that this is just showing again that the EHOME, while they did get like outplayed consistently in that last game, they're well within the ability to fight against VGR, and it looks like they're going to be in a position to be able to come and take out this next Roshan, which I don't think is going to be Aegis and Cheese. I believe that that's just Aegis, but they might be spoiling for a bit of a fight before that happens. The rotation does go in as VGR is going to scout this out. They're looking up on a high ground, but nobody's home over there. Meanwhile, the whole time, the Spear Bear is pressuring this bottom lane or top lane with the Radiance, and they are going to be able to kill off this courier if they want it.
No, if they kill the courier, they show their positioning. They know VGR is down there just because the courier came from bottom.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, they can find 11. 11's here by himself. The rest of the team, they've backed up. They're all split. Can they kill the bear? It looks like EHOME, they're reluctant to commit, but the vacuum's there. The wall is there. Can they kill him off though? It looks like he does drop to No-No as well as the Enchantress, but they insta-give the Ducks here after that. He's going to be dead. Oh, Chicken taken down by End. Can they actually get more? They're looking for Landem, but he gets hit with the rocket, and the stun duration for that was really long. And all of a sudden, Landem blinks out of there with the gyro. It's 2 dead, 3 dead now as Ice gets taken down. This is the fight that VGR have been looking for. That was the miracle smoke that they needed 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, really well played. They needed that one exactly the way
But their
they
base
did
is
it.
under attack.
Right, that's the problem. You're taking the tier 4 tower in the base, so it's good that you're able to find that one. And actually, Enchantress is going to walk up. Fenrir was looking for that stun, isn't going to be able to catch it. But yeah, you look at this, and it's going to end up being a 3,400 gold swing at the end of everything, with a ton of experience on top of it. So this play, while it's big, it's not quite big enough to bring it back into the favor of VGR yet. Like, experience, it's a heck of a lot closer. Net worth, there's still about a 6,000 gold lead, and more importantly, the lane of Rax is still going to be a problem. Also, they didn't manage to kill off this gyrocopter, who is still, while not the highest farmed hero in the game, is definitely getting there. And after picking up the Blake Dagger, which is something a little bit nuts, it's pretty freaking great. They also used that Winter's Curse to control up the OD in that fight to make sure that he wasn't right-clicking anybody, which was pretty good. It also mattered because Lenem was hitting away that entire time onto the OD, so he wasn't able to cast out a ton of his spells. And that's really what they need to do. The problem has been that they haven't really been able to find those fights. And I don't know if you can replicate that same type of smoke play where you're able to catch them and find like the perfect pick-off target right from the start.
Absolutely. It depends. If they can get a smoke gank off like that, which I think the chances of it now is going to be super low. Now that EHOME had that happen, they're not going to let it happen again. And instead, it looks like VGR, they're making a mid-push. And if you're EHOME, they're going to go for an instant Astral onto the Sven to slow things down. I know they're looking for a Tornado. Actually lands onto the OD, but no one really in a spot to try and go for any sort of jump. And it looks like it's just a tower for VG. No real commitment. Roshan is up, however, and this is definitely an objective to contest. EHOME definitely don't want to be giving this away for free, if at all.
Oh, FY gets caught out. They're going to be able to catch the Impale there. They do still have Yang in the area, though, to make sure that they're able to escape there with the Surge. So pretty well played. Make sure that that Enchantress does not end up getting taken out. And yeah, this is sort of just going to be the battle for Roshan. I'm really concerned right now. EHOME cannot take a fight around that Roche Pit because of Winter's Curse. They have to be able to find a position where they're able to catch them out sort of before the fight happens around the Roche Pit, because if they end up getting caught out again, it's just going to be disastrous. Worth noting that Yang does have to TP back and try and deal with this creep wave, and that's the other great part about being able to have that lane of Rax already taken. So the big question at this stage is, where do they find their angle of initiation? They're going to try and go for the Vendetta play behind them, and this is what that Nyx Assassin allows you to do. Look forward, jump, going to catch there onto 11. Tornado EMP combo lifts him up for the moment. There's going to be the Savage Roar as well, and they are going to be able to lift him up. Astro is going to keep him there for the moment. OD up on the high ground. He is going to end up being able to stay alive for a moment, though, and that means that N's not going to be able to hit him, I think. He's still dropping low, though, from the cleave damage, and suddenly you're up there on the high ground in a ton of trouble. They end up dropping down the Winter's Curse. Old Chicken is caught out for the moment and does end up going down. Now Old 11 as well. Everybody from EHOME is going down, and they're going to be able to take Roshan off of this.
That was the fight that VGR were looking for. That was the fight EHOME shouldn't have taken to begin with. They didn't have sufficient vision to spot out where all the VGR heroes are, and for them to be caught out with the vacuum, like, come on, you're up against a Darkseid, you have to respect that hero. If you get caught up on the high ground because of a vacuum or combo, that shouldn't happen to begin with. So I think EHOME getting a little bit too overconfident getting around the Roche Pit, thinking that maybe they could jump onto VGR before anything really happened, backfired badly. The only good news that happened for EHOME is that the mid T4 is taking critical amounts of damage, which for VGR, they've got to be a little bit more careful with their tower, because if that drops, that leaves the Ancient open to any sort of backdoor shenanigans, which, if you're EHOME, they're not a team to shy away from those sort of plays.
Yeah, and with the Lone Druid there as well, that's something that you got to be so aware of. Again, they're going to be able to keep them off this base for a while here. They don't have the best high ground in the world, but they have decent high ground, and I don't think that it's going to be easy for VGR to break this. They need to be able to hit some type of big EMP tornado combo when the defense is there to really find their angle. It's worth noting that OD has been able to build into his first Mystic Staff, so I think that he's probably going to be building this into a Sheep Stick. That's how you end up being able to find the kill, is you jump on in with the Blink Dagger, immediately get the Sheep onto the Sven before he gets off the BKB, and then he's just going to end up exploding. But the problem is that each and every time they've gotten caught by VGR, and the team with the better vision right now is the one that's going to end up winning the game. You look at this right here, VGR, they only have one ward down on the ground, but that's way better than EHOME, who don't have anything. So they have to be able to get some more wards down, try and either get a gem or make use of your gem that you've got on Nyx Assassin to try and de-ward the stuff that's going on, because otherwise I don't think that EHOME can win this game without a solid initiation.
I don't think so either. And it also becomes increasingly more difficult now because you've just seen a BKB snatched up by the Enchantress, as well as the Darkseer. So all of a sudden, there's more magic immunity on VGR and less time for control for EHOME. They can't simply stun these heroes anymore if they preemptively pop their BKBs. So what does EHOME do in that scenario? Because they don't have anything like an Abyssal Blade as of yet, I believe. So they can't even disable these BKB heroes up until the Spirit Bear finishes up the Abyssal, which it is going to take a while, but you still have to consider buyback on these heroes. So even though he might have enough gold for Abyssal, considering how the fights have been going, you want buyback in case anything goes terribly wrong.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of buyback right now, as you mentioned, you do have it up on end right here, and Lone Druid trying to save up for his own. As far as other heroes, like, if EHOME lose a fight in the next couple of minutes, that's just going to be it. So they are going to be scouting this out down here on the bottom side. Fenrir does have a gem available for himself. I don't know if, like, because again, you've just got to be so freaking careful. You got Winter Wyvern here who's also got one, so if you happen to run into anybody from the side of VGR and your Nyx Assassin dies, the game is pretty much over. They are going to be able to scout out the Invoker with the gem, but nobody really wants to commit heavily for this, and I think that right now the name of the game for EHOME is just hold off, don't get caught, farm up on your cores as much as possible, get that, the sheep stick completed, and then find yourself a position to defend high ground, or at least hold them from trying to press high ground.
If not that, EHOME could consider trying to bait out ultimates from VGR. In particular, if you can bait out a wall, or if you can bait out a Winter's Curse, that would also be a step in the right direction. Because I can't help but feel like for VGR, they're very ultimate dependent. Let's face it. They have heroes that aren't going to scale the same way that EHOME heroes do. But they've got great ultimates, though, that scale depending on EHOME. So if you can take one of those spells out of the equation, I think the game becomes increasingly easier for EHOME. It's just those spells that are so important.
End's going to end up going down.
God.
And that's the reveal, the sheep stick reveal.
He has buyback, though. So if VGR make any sort of plays and can force out buyback, that could be huge. But they're very reluctant to go into VGR.
Absolutely. It's totally worth it, though. Like, that's 80 seconds where they're not going to be able to push towards high ground or anything, really. And again, the longer this game goes on, the better chances EHOME has of winning it. And I really think that now with, like, Butterfly up on Gyrocopter, you're going to be able to get this Blink Dagger up on Winter Wyvern, but regardless, this is where the pressure really starts to come your way, and they're going to be able to commit at least Lone Druid Bear. They've got a resummon here available, so they can do a decent chunk of damage to this tower and maybe even force something out from the Sven.
They need to scout out this Winter Wyvern Blink. If they don't know that this is up, this could be the initiation for VGR to just go for that massive play and potentially push down mid, which EHOME, they are down a game. If they lose this game, that's it.
Yeah.
So lots of pressure on EHOME. They need to scout this out. It just depends if DDC puts himself into a position where the bear could scout him.
Well, Aegis is expired. Gyrocopter blinking away there from the impetus shots, and now you got the Lone Druid hidden away here in the bottom tier 3 tower. They're able to poof him back again, and he's going to step forward a couple. Just look at the freaking damage he does this. With the AC completed and the Basher up, he's ready to go. They're going to drop down the Ice Wall, down at about half HP, but meanwhile, the pressure's going to be there on the other side of the map. They do end up turning it back around. A really nice Impale keeps the bear alive, and they actually can walk out of this one.
They glyphed the towers when EHOME were going to back up anyway. Oh, EHOME, that was so good. They essentially ran rings around VG. So what they did was they were feinting that push down mid, and then all of a sudden they rotate the bear down towards the bottom lane to do tower damage. Then when VGR rotates down bottom, OD blinks up onto the high ground. It goes for an Astral. I've forgotten what hero it was. And then they started whacking on the mid T3. So they did minimal amounts of chip damage, but if they can just do free chip damage like that, I'd say EHOME are, considering how the game is going, to do damage like that, it's good.
Yeah. No, totally. And every little bit counts. Like, if they end up being able to win a team fight at any given point in time at this stage in the game, like, either buyback is going to have to be committed, or they're just going to end up losing the game, because Lone Druid pushes so freaking quickly. And I think that probably pretty soon here we're going to start to see these really key items come up on these other heroes that allow them to pressure pretty quickly as well. As far as the OD is concerned, he's already got his, like, it's unreal to me how much damage this hero can do with just his blink and the sheep stick, basically, with BKB there as well. Like, he doesn't have to have any damage items, and pretty much from here on out, he can build more survivability if he wants to. They're going to be moving down towards this bottom lane with the tower already pressured in, and you've got all of VGR up in the top lane trying to pressure the top tier 2. They need to get back here and defend against this, because this is going to drop so quickly.
That smoke was so good. And this is the annoying thing with EHOME's draft as well. You've got a Chen, so he can essentially push out the wave by himself with his creeps. So all of a sudden, mass TP from VGR.
Oh,
their Rax is under siege. That's stun on to end. They got the Rax at least. Now EHOME, they need to back up. They can't afford to get caught out. They got what they wanted, and looks like Landham's going to be taken down by Yang. They also lose the Nyx Assassin. 2 heroes, not yet, not 2. They blink out, the Sunstrike doesn't land, and the bear, it stunned Yang. They're still chasing Landham, but he blinks out, and the TP out. They don't even get 11.
Jesus, that was so good. That was so good. The drive-by Arax just gets taken down, and they did leave the gem in the base, so no Nyx Assassin gem, but nobody noticed yet, so they haven't picked it up. They don't really need to. They're going to bring on out the courier, take that one away, and now they're going to try and press again. But this is the type of thing. You got that Rat Dota going. You're able to jump on out there. And this is, well, the other thing that I was wondering, if Lone Druid was going to go for an Aghanim Scepter. And now the bear is so much more mobile in terms of his ability to push out these lanes. Obviously, that poof away is going to be so effective also. And this is where I feel like the game starts to turn into almost unwinnable mode, because EHOME are never going to end up grouping up all together anymore. They can just go for the split push game, and if you go to one lane, the other one's going to be pressured in as well. And eventually, because as we've talked about, like it's just so hard to fight against this type of lineup that EHOME are running.
EHOME are playing so perfectly right now. They are just completely running around the map. VG can't get a hold of them all together, and by the time they do, EHOME have just done too much damage and they just leave. Like, they're not getting greedy. They're grabbing Raxes, which, yeah, they got the Rax down bottom, which is fine, but VGR can't do anything. And also you have to consider, like, it's so difficult for the Darkseer and the Winter Wyvern to think about committing any of their major spells, because, for example, if they whiff a major ultimate down bottom and EHOME realized that, they would have instantly turned and fought VG without a doubt. They definitely would have gone for that play. So that's why they're consistently holding these major ultimates, because they are trying to look for those crucial pickoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and every second that they don't end up finding them is a little bit more farm going the way of EHOME's side. And now they're going to make the play. This is a little bit greedy right now. They're going to be able to take down Roshan super freaking quickly, and nobody from VGR is going to end up checking it out for the moment. So the fact that this is going to pay off, this might be potentially the nail in the coffin. VGR don't realize this is going on, and even if they did, I'm not sure if they could fully come back and commit to defending it anyways. But that's going to be the Aegis up, cheese completed, and Old Chicken's going to start running around, I think. This is where things get terrifying. He's got 2,100 gold, can build into a Moon Shard pretty soon if he wants as well. Sven already has one of his own, and I'm wondering at what point in time does it end up turning into Rapier stages. And actually, he's already got the Sacred Relic, so it's Rapier time. They need to commit for this one to be the sort of last thing to try and turn it back their way.
They need it, but they also need to find a way to get into EHOME, I think, which is the biggest problem. Like, EHOME, they're so elusive with these blinks. It's just every single time VGR they find a hero, but every time EHOME just blink out. And they don't want to commit Winter's Curse because you want to be able to catch it out onto several heroes at least. Because a curse onto one hero it's not useful for VGR unless they have the solid lockdown for it, which is just a Stormhammer, and that's it. That's only going to be one hero. And Old Eleven's going to reveal himself in the mid lane, very close to VGR's base. I don't know if you want to be losing your hero here. He still has the bear at least, which is going to be able to make some work happen. Like, that's the Winter's. He is sent home by ISO
Oh
Light.
my god!
Oh my god, DDC. And he's going to be able to blink. Never mind, sorry. Never mind. I'm talking about the wrong hero, but still, that was terrifying.
That was
Oh,
BKB
God.
committed. Also, that was the 5-second BKB. There was a misplay there. There was
VG.
mistakes were made.
VG are crumbling. Oh, jeez.
It's so hard to play in this type of game, though. Also, like, any little mistake ends up completely turning it back around. And now this is 23 seconds. I don't think that they're going to be able to go up here without BKB up on Sven, but it's worth noting that this is going to still be that 5-second BKB. And Gyrocopter actually is the one that ends up going for the Rapier. All right, well, we're going in for a hell of a finish. This could be the 3-2-2 that they need. Oh my god, did Lanham really buy that Rapier? I mean, he's got the survivability, but he doesn't even have a BKB. What is he doing?
Oh, wow. I guess because there's no curse, they're fine with it. Because if there's no curse, it's just going to be the vacuum wall.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it ends up going. Abyssal Blade is going to be the item for Sven instead. He is going to be able to be a little bit more lockdown here, and if they're able to jump onto this Gyrocopter, like, this game could so rapidly turn terrible for EHOME. Gyrocopter doesn't have buyback right now. I don't know why he invested into this Rapier. I mean, if it works out, all power to you, but this is so deadly to go into this. They're actually, is he blocked in right now by the Alpha Wolf too? EHOME.
Oh my gosh, EHOME. Okay, I think they're doing their best to accumulate as many fans possible.
Fenrir ends up popping off the Spike Carapace. He's going to run away. The Self-Astral for the moment. They're going to go for the Sunstrike on back of it. Don't quite time it out perfectly. This is so scary at this stage. The only heroes with buyback are the Darkseer and the Chen. And actually going to send back Fenrir for the moment. So I need to be careful about this. If they like, I can't believe that bought that Rapier.
No will have buyback if he gets a little bit of gold. He just needs a little bit more, 186 gold, and then there's going to be an Invoker buyback at least.
All right, well, let's see how this goes. Again, one slight misplay, and you're just going to end up losing everything here. And the other thing about it is that before, there wasn't really the issue of the Winter's Curse causing a ton of problems, as again, the bottom lane is being pressured in, and the range barracks might go down soon, because the OD, like, a lot of his damage comes from Arcane Orb, which isn't going on with Winter's Curse. Now, all of a sudden, you could kill off, like, a couple members of your team very rapidly with Winter's Curse.
Oh, they almost got the initiation onto the OD.
He's going to be able to walk away from that one for the moment. Bottom lane again, Bear is going to town. It is going to end up being controlled there for the second, and it ended up being able to get the kill. So Bear is down. They do have another one now, but they are going to jump forward off to the side. They're going to be able to kill off the Invoker, a quick and easy one with the Sheep Stick committed, and now they're in the area again. They do have the Winter's Curse as well as Vacuum if they want to go for it. Super Creeps are in the base. They're going to jump now onto the Bear. It's actually going to end up going down, and they end up being able to kill off the Courier as well. Old Chicken off to the side, getting chased around there. Hand of God committed. They've already lost one of the towers. Atlanta moved forward. They didn't quite catch him, though, and they're just being pulled apart. This is such good play, but off to the side, End ends up getting controlled. He is going to end up maybe going down. They do find that one. Off to the side, though, Ice drops also. They're going to end up buying back. There's the bring forward with the Vacuum, and I think that they're going to be able to kill off the Invoker. This is going to be another one played out there.
So OD's going to be taken out. They've got support coming in, though. Fenrir is trying to find a way to get in. He gets the two-man spike. Oh, they have to Astral the OD again. They need to keep him alive. They're trying to stun them up. They might kill End. He dies. He's got no buyback. That's the spend gone for the next 2 minutes. Is it the opening EHOME was looking for? They completely ripped the Invoker to shreds. He also bought back, so that's going to be him down for 87 seconds. And EHOME, finally, they're going to lose Old Chicken, unfortunately. Well, rip.
GG, well played, ends up getting called. EHOME bring it back in spectacular fashion with the Rapier on Old Lanham. Don't say we ever doubted them. They were able to do it, and this is going to push us to a game number 3. VG.R facing off against EHOME, Grand Finals for H-Cup. Danelie, what are we expecting to see here in this last game? This has been nuts so far.
I would appreciate it if the teams could just play a game like that again. That was very amusing for us as not just casters, but also the people watching the game. But gosh, so EHOME, they pull out their 6th set. They unmuted themselves. They definitely played their best. They ran rings around VG.R. Like, it looked at some point that VG.R was starting to take complete control of the game. Their heroes were getting huge. The spend was starting to hit really hard. But EHOME, with some really good rotations, great decision making, they make rotations. They take better trades than they could have gotten if they tried to fight VG.R head on. Game 3, like, imagine what it could be.
I'm excited. I cannot wait. Well, stick around, everybody. I don't think anybody's going to end up leaving after that game. We've still got game number 3, the Grand Finals. It all comes down to this. Again, it's a best of 3. H-Cup, presented by BTS. See you guys in just a couple of minutes.